Here we go. First day of fall, Anthony. I can't believe it's another season that we're headed to.
It's the season.
Hello. All right. Anthony, so great to see you. Although it looks like you're having a little trouble seeing me right now because you haven't commented on this amazing haircut that I got.
Well, yeah, you did get a nice haircut.
Let's not talk about me. We got to focus on what's going on with you right now.
More handsome. Well, as you can see by my eye, Mike Tyson, as you know, is coming back in November, and he needs a training partner that can, could stand up to him. So me and him were sparring this weekend. And I got the best of him, but he poked me in the ass.
Yeah, when does he get out of ICU?
I wish I was fighting Mike Tyson. No, actually, I don't wish I was fighting Mike Tyson.
So what happened, man?
It's nothing so brave. I was in my garage. I've been cleaning out my garage for weeks, it seems. And I sat there looking at pictures for hours. Mm-hmm. And I had the door closed because it was really cold out yesterday, and I didn't want to be cold. So I closed the door to my garage. Right. And I didn't realize I was sitting there with all the dust. And so by the end of the day, my eyes were all messed up, my congestion. I was a mess. I've been a mess up until the show. So it's getting better. But, so don't close yourself in a garage full of dust, which when you don't realize there's a lot of dust because it's not that dusty of a garage, but I guess it was enough to screw my whole eyes and system up. So anyway, enough about me. How was your holidays, my friend? Are you still still going on?
Rosh Hashanah part is over. Now we're in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which is the highest of holy days. That'll be next weekend.
So for our
non-Jewish people,
yes, Judaism.
So Rosh Hashanah is the new year, and this is the best part about being a Jew because I got this year over with before everyone else did. So I'm living pretty in a whole new year right now, where all you suckers are still in 2020. I'm living it up in 5781, which, by the way, is going fantastic. By the way.
It is. All right. That's good to hear. So, yeah. Well, we're not going to get this decade for a while. But, okay. So, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. I went up to Rhode Island. It's the first time, Anthony, that I got the family on the road together away in a hotel for a couple of nights since the COVID crisis began. How great was that to be able to be together with the family outside of New York? And Maritza, thank you very much for the Shana Tova. Shana Tova to all the my favorite Jews out there and my least favorite Jews too, because if we're all celebrating the New Year. So so that was pretty cool to be able to go up there. We stayed at the Hilton Providence. I want to thank the GM Kevin for all of the great hospitality that he gave us there. That property is owned by the Prakashanti Group, and they were supposed to go through a big renovation. But then COVID hit, and now they're trying to figure out how to get that going again. I had a great conversation with Kevin, the GM over there, about how all hotels seem to be going through renovations now in order to take advantage of having a little bit lower frequency of guests. They can get the work done quicker. They can really get themselves in shape for when travel business starts to come back. But I got to tell you, Anthony, it was so great to be in an environment with people wanting to travel.
Absolutely. Talking about traveling, maybe that dream of mine is coming true in next Tuesday. We'll see.
We'll see. We will see. All right. So today we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking with the one and only, the incredible Mr. Roger Dow, President and CEO of U.S. Travel. For those of you who don't know, U.S. Travel is the association that promotes travel around the world, which is why I am not in San Francisco today.
You are in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge is right there.
That's right. Isn't that pretty awesome? All right. So, Anthony, I'm really excited to talk to Mr.
Is he on? Is he in the green room?
He is here. Are we ready? Should we bring him on?
Let me see. Yep, we're ready.
All right. Here we go. A good friend, Roger Dow, President and CEO of U.S. Travel. All right, sir, if you can move the camera a little bit more. Right now, you look, I like your profile look there.
A little more.
A little more. Hey,
a little more.
Beautiful.
A little more.
Yeah, the last time we did this together, Roger, we were all.
I see.
Hey, there he is.
You guys are vertical. I'm horizontal. That's why.
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to be able to do this look for you too when you speak solo. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Roger, good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you, Anthony. How you been?
Since the last time I saw you, anything change?
No, nothing I know of. All good.
Listen, 10 years of growth, except 1 month, was getting boring.
Yeah. Well, you certainly know how to bring some excitement to things with all of this. So, Roger, obviously, all of our lives have been turned upside down over the last 6 months. Where are we right now from your position as president and CEO of U.S. Travel?
We're still in a pretty tough shape, Glenn. When you look at it, this has been 10 times worse than September 11th. There's no question about it. You look at the unemployment out of 16 million travel workers, 8 million as of May were out of work. They're starting to come back. We're probably back 25%. It's all regional the way it's coming back, but it's going to be a long way to go till we get back to where we were at the end of last year.
So what were the numbers again? How many employed, how many unemployed? 16
million in the industry, 8 million unemployed. Put in perspective, Anthony, that's 51% of all the travel workers. The Great Depression was 25.5%. So this is twice the Great Depression, if you put it all in perspective.
Yeah, and we may be having, after this, hopefully we get this straightened out and we get a vaccine. Who knows if we're going into a very significant recession or even something worse.
Well, there's no question about it. As you and I know, and Glenn knows, travel is the link to economic development. Everything that happens because someone first takes a trip, whether it's a sale, a buy of a house, a move of a company. Travel is the link to the American economy. And without that, the economy is going to have trouble coming back.
I'm going to use that in all the interviews I do. I'm going to use travel as the link to American economy. You're the first person to actually say that, I think, in those words. It is pretty cut and dry. I mean, we use numbers. I use 17 sentences to say what you just said in a very short, succinct sentence. Travel is the link to the U.S. economy, and period, dot, end of story. And what are you seeing as far as numbers? We love numbers on the show. So what are you seeing as far as, TSA?
I've got the TSA numbers in front of us.
So I'm going to guess the TSA numbers last week were 680,000.
What do you say, Glenn? I was going to say 970.
You're both wrong. The answer lies somewhere in between if we're looking at the average. However, yesterday an incredible 847,968 passed through TSA. But the day before it was 638. The day before that, 812,000. The day before that, 784,000.
You could have easily said yesterday was 638, Anthony. You hit it on the dot. That was great. But
yes, I could have.
Credit.
No, why? No, why? If I gave you credit, Anthony, where would we go?
So that's 1/3 of where it was last year. So that's 1/3 of the travelers from last year. Is that correct?
Yes. Yesterday had 2.5 million a year ago.
Yeah. So, and the anomaly here is almost all those travelers are leisure travelers, which we love. People are staying leisure, but the real money in travel is business travel, meetings, and international, and they're all shut down. So this is leisure starting to prop up the industry, but we've got a long way to go. We've got to get business back.
100%. So what are the numbers that you're seeing? Any rays of sunshine in any of the numbers?
Yeah, there are. We're starting to see a lot of the beach communities, the outdoor areas, they're coming back very strong. A friend of mine went to the Ritz-Carlton, Sarasota 2 weekends ago, and they're $650 a night. And
wow.
So a lot of the beach places are doing well. The outdoor places where it really getting hurt are the downtown cities, Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York, Boston. These cities are in tough shape at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Roger, we did a live broadcast last Tuesday from downtown Manhattan. I mean, like overlooking Ground Zero downtown Manhattan. And thank you to good folks over at the Courtyard by Marriott for hosting us there. But it just felt so empty. But at the same time, it felt like life wanted to come back. So I sense there is that desire that's there, and people are starting to get out and about again. How do you think it's going to start to go over the next couple of months as we start to move into colder weather and people aren't necessarily going to be able to sit outside in a sidewalk cafe in October or November in the Northeast United States?
Well, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see the fall, summer travel season extend into the fall, because with so many schools doing remote or virtual learning, parents have the opportunity to take their kids to Disney or Universal or somewhere like that. We're going to see that come back.
Great.
Your question about demand, we track it every single week, and sentiment is going up every week. It was the highest with about 54% of the people saying they want to travel and are willing to travel in the very short term. About 25% saying they're still waiting to see for a few more signals. And then there's that 25% that says, no way, Jose, and they're not going to travel. Right. And so the people we're talking to are the ones that want to travel and that are on the edge thinking about traveling.
That's right. And Roger, when you look at that survey that was put out last week by MGY Global that had those numbers, 75% have a desire to travel. Most of them do want to get into a car and go somewhere. So that leaves the airlines a little bit of a bind, but it does tell me that there could be a reconfiguring of the way that people are going to travel. So it may not be as bad for individual hotels going forward if they are able to tap into that reconfiguration of business. And by that, I mean, instead of me and my family going to Florida, we'll probably drive to upstate New York, give the money to a local community as opposed to getting on an airplane and going to another state. Does that sound like some sort of a trend that you're seeing out there?
That's exactly what's happening. People are shifting their marketing to Florida's marketing to travel in Florida. Mm-hmm. People are marketing to the contiguous states, California, talking about staying in California. Now, New York has a problem. You can go to New York, Glenn, and go to northern New York. And think of it, we're going into fall foliage season, the greatest time to travel New England. Mm-hmm. And yet New England and New York have quarantines in place for upwards of 15, 20 different states that they're saying you can't come there unless you sit in place for 2 weeks. So they've got to get that behind them, because it doesn't make sense. They're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I agree. The state that I'm going to next week just came off the quarantine list, and I was really concerned about that. I was like, because I have to quarantine. I'm not going to not quarantine. People are going to see me, and they're going to say he's not following the rules. And the day I was booking the travel, they came off the quarantine list, and I was following them. I was like, I don't know why. It was Nevada. I don't know why they're still on the quarantine list. And you're right. Here in New York, the problem is we've gotten the numbers so low here in New York, and it's been so consistent, thank God, for such a long period of time. I mean, I think yesterday was 800 people that were tested. It's 0.043 of the people that were tested, and that's out of 20 million people. So people keep saying New York City, 8 million people. No, this number is out of 20 million people. So our number is very low, and we're just frightened. The government is just frightened that the number is going to go up. But to your point, we need to get people, upstate. We need to get people. One of the things people don't realize about New York, when everybody thinks about New York, they think about New York City. New York, and I've traveled probably as extensively, all of us probably have traveled very extensively. It's probably some of the most beautiful scenery in the world. Forget about the country. Yeah. Upstate New York is some of the most beautiful scenery in the entire world. And we need to get people to see that. So I agree with you. And hopefully it will be coming off. I know restaurants are going to start opening up the 29th, 25%. So little by little by little. Have you been in touch with your constituents, not constituents, but your colleagues at in other countries of what they're doing? Are you guys kind of working together to figure out how we can go forward? Because I'd imagine there's not one person in the world in your position that doesn't have the same concerns.
Yeah, I for the past 3 months, every single Monday, I'm on a call with the tourism directors from about 15, 20 countries for WTTC, World Travel and Tourism Council, all the cruise line association, the airline association, the airport associations, and we're all comparing notes. And this is one of those things that's global. Everyone's got the same situation. And the thing that's got to come out of this, we've got to get some consistent ways of traveling. Most people have no idea whether they can travel to Germany, whether they can travel to New Mexico, or be quarantined. And this is the problem. The inconsistency across the board, not only the U.S., but around the world, is really tough. We've got to get on the same page.
What's the one country that you would say when you're in a meeting that you would say you learned something from, or that was doing something pretty creative?
Japan is doing some very rapid testing. So what's happening in Japan, when you land at the airport at Narita, you're basically pulled aside, you do a rapid test, and you're held for 45 minutes, and then you get the green light to go ahead.
Beautiful.
So that's the first country that I've seen that's really employing rapid testing.
Why can't we do that? Like, I don't understand. With all the money, with all the power, with all the brilliance in our world, why can't we do that? Like, if we did that, life would get back to normal. Why can't we do that as a world? Forget about our country.
Well, it's a question of getting the availability, and we as a travel industry and all the airlines are pushing the government very hard, saying the smartest thing you can do is get available, rapid, reliable testing in place all over the place.
I mean, let's just look at it from a financially point of view. It doesn't matter how much that costs, because if you put those programs into place, it's going to save the need for a lot more further government bailouts. So we're talking billions instead of trillions that we're going to have to spend.
So if I wanted to go to Japan right now, am I allowed to go to Japan? Or are we on the list that we're not allowed to come in?
You're on the list of not allowed to come in right now.
Wow.
That sucks.
What country can we go to? Hawaii? That's a country, isn't it?
We could go to Jamaica.
You can go to South Dakota.
Right.
Okay. But you know what? That's the greatest country on earth, South Dakota.
It really is. I mean, South Dakota's really got their act together when it comes to this thing.
Yeah.
They never closed down. They were really smart about it. And
but isn't that where Sturgis happened?
Yes, it is. Exactly right. And
didn't they tie Sturgis to like 280,000 COVID cases, or is that just BS fake news?
You got it.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see what happens. So let's look at this. I'm not going to Japan yet, Craig. Apparently, I'm not going to be allowed to. We will get there soon enough. I gotta
real quick before a guest comments something. You see my eyes watering again. So it's just I got something in it yesterday, so no need to worry. I'm not sick. So if you see me look like I was in the fight with Tyson, I wasn't. I was in a fight with Dust, and I lost.
Roger, he's just really moved by everything you're saying. That's what's going on.
I know on camera. I'm seeing how bad it's getting.
Yeah, it's starting to get. That came out of nowhere. All right. So, Roger, I got to give credit to United Airlines. I reported last week on my No Vacancy News Today news program that I do a couple of times a week that they have put up, and go to united.com and check it out, an interactive chart. So for me, if I'm going from New York to another state, I can easily click on that map and it'll tell me what the situation is in that state, any requirements or quarantine issues that I may have to face. And it really alleviates a lot of that stress to have that sort of information in one isolated place that I could find it. I would love to see more resources like that, Roger, because I'm finding right now there's a lot of confusion about what we can, what we can't do, all of that kind of stuff. Do you know of any other resources that are out there that helps get people more comfortable with the notion of traveling by giving them that critical information they need to know?
Yes, we just came together with 75 organizations, United being one of them, Delta, American, all the destinations, all the hotel companies, and put together a campaign called Let's Go There, getting people to, we launched it last Monday Night Football, talking about start planning, thinking of travel. We want to be careful we weren't tone deaf, because there's that 25% doesn't want to travel. We don't want them to think we're being tone deaf. But to the other people, we're saying, let's start planning. And on our site, on the Let's Go There Coalition site, there's the very same thing you talked about. You can hit any area, any city, any area in the United States, and it'll tell you exactly what the status is for COVID restrictions.
Right. This is absolutely essential for all of us to get back. Anthony?
Roger, if you need I will donate my time, my efforts, whatever you need. I would love to be part of that campaign in any way. So if you need me to do a little video or something, or whatever you need me to do, I would love to help in any way I can.
Anthony, great. We'll get something to you today, in fact, any way you want to use it. It's because it's a great campaign. And the nice thing about it, we did this after September 11th, and this time, this is 10 times worse than September 11th, called Go USA. This time, the industry is so much more advanced with social media, all the owned medias, all the frequency programs. Just on our own resources, we can get a lot out there, not to mention paid advertising and public relations, kinds of things, having you talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at some of the questions, Micah Hill, I just brought up that thing a moment ago. Is this not a federal government issue? No USA plan. So far here in the United States, the USA seems to be taking a state-by-state approach as opposed to an overarching national plan that I've seen so far. Is there any hope, Roger, that the federal government itself, as opposed to incredible agencies like yourselves, are going to take control of this situation and try to create some sort of national plan so we could get back to things a little bit quicker? And I don't want to talk politics and get everybody, in a furor. I just want really for us to all work together with the understanding there's no necessarily right answers. There's no necessarily wrong answers. We're all just trying to figure it out. And I'd like to see us do it together as a nation.
Yeah, I totally agree. That'd be much more logical. But right now it's state by state. The governors control what's happening in the states, and it is state by state. And some governors have opened their states much more than others, and others are being more cautious. Hawaii being probably the most cautious. They just announced they're going to start opening up where you don't have to be quarantined, I think, in the first or second week of October.
That's fantastic news.
When I went to Hawaii, we'd have to sit in our hotel for 14 days before we went anywhere.
Right.
That's right. We've had some Hawaii featured on the show multiple times with guests that have shared that with us, so we can imagine what a commitment that takes to cut all of those people off. So, Roger, then how do you even think about during your job? Because your job is to get people to travel, but can you really get people to travel right now if there doesn't seem to be a clear plan from government on how to fix everything? I'm curious as to what your dilemma is every single day is really what I'm trying to get down to.
The dilemma is to get step by step. The first thing was to get health and safety guidelines in place. And we brought the whole industry together for health and safety guidelines to make sure when you go to a hotel, when you get on a plane. There's a great misunderstanding when you get on a plane. Ed Bastian, head of CEO
Delta,
said to me, he said, Roger, if planes were so dangerous, why aren't the flight attendants sick? He said the number of flight attendants having COVID is minuscule compared to the rest of the population. That's because they're like a hospital waiting room, a hospital surgical room, with the HEPA filters and changing the air every couple of minutes. The public thinks it's a plane is a tube for 4 hours full of the same stale air. Not the case. It's clean. It's 10 times cleaner than your grocery store.
That's absolutely true. And we've been trying to fight back that misnomer on this particular show. But why hasn't Ed Bastian gone on TV with their ads and said that same thing? Why is he only telling you? Why are we not hearing about that? Delta has done, I got to say, a fantastic job of communicating. I fly them all the time. I felt everything that they've done has been spot on in handling this situation by being forthright and honest. But that seems to me like something, Roger, that you could just put out there. And I think it would go a long way in getting people's confidence back.
I think it's a very good thought. Delta's doing, as you say, a great job.
Terrific job.
Especially with their frequency program. So when you think about it, they're getting the right message to all of their flyers, like myself and you that are on their frequency program, every couple of days. So they are talking to people. Ed, I see on a lot of news shows talking the same thing. And maybe something that people could pick up because they are, along with the others, really doing one heck of a good job on this thing.
Right. And you know what? Like we've been saying to nauseam on this show, if you do your part, you'll be okay. And there you go. If you do your part, you'll be okay. Meaning wear a mask, do the right things. And if you're wearing your mask and you're under one of those filters in an airplane, you're in pretty good shape, right? You're in pretty good shape. And then I also would, if you could, whether you're on, if you have to fly a different time or to make yourself feel more comfortable, to get a cheaper flight, maybe in comfort class or in business class, if you have to fly at early or really late to get a discount, to get a price you can afford, it's worth doing it to make yourself feel better. It's all about, it's not even so what the government's doing or what you're doing. It's what I'm doing to protect and make myself feel good. I'll give you an example. I was I went to a golf driving range with a couple of friends. It's really the first time I've kind of mingled with my friends. And one of my friends, I love him to death, but he was coming close to me. I had my mask on. I was at one of my, my section. I literally got my golf club like stuck him in the stomach. and
then you got punched in the eye, it looks like.
I was like, dude, I don't want to put my mask on. I'm here by stay over there. I'll stay over here. We'll be fine. And I literally stuck him in the stomach. So again, I felt, and I was thinking about, should I do it? Because he's coming close and I don't have my mask handy. I'm getting uncomfortable, stuck him in the stomach, and he got the message. So my point being is I'm still going to go out. I'm still going to go to restaurants. I'm still going to fly. I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to do all the things I want to do. but I have a responsibility to my family and to myself and to the fellow people that I'm around to be smart. And that's not simple. Everybody's looking for the government and airlines. Just do what is prudent for you. And if you're one of the people that don't believe in the mask and you want to go out and you want to go ahead. I won't be there, but it's your right as an American. You want to go do that, go do it. But you will not see me, and hopefully you won't see other people that believe that they want to social distance until we get a vaccine. So my point being is there's just tremendous amount of self-control and self-government that you have to. That's what America's about. America's about us having freedom, but we have to do good for our country. And what's doing good for our country is making sure you're taking care of yourself and your family.
Yeah, you got to get yourself one of those 6-foot putters, where you stand up and putt.
Yeah.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. When we put out the guidelines on health and safety, we said it's a two-way street. Hotels and airlines and theme parks can do everything they want, but the public isn't doing their part. So it's a two-way street. And if we both do this together, and it's wearing the mask, it's the physical distancing, it's the washing your hands. I want to see the mask go away. It's tough being on a plane for 4 hours or 5 hours with a mask. But if we can get this behind us, we can get those masks off and start traveling again. But we all should work together to get this thing behind us.
What I've been saying for many, many years is hotels don't have bed bugs. Guests have bed bugs and bring them to our hotels. Hotels don't have COVID. You bring COVID into our hotel, whether it be an employee or whether it be a guest. So we have to take care of ourselves. There's a really good question here that I really like. Haven't heard anything about traveling by train. Are they keeping up on social distancing?
That is a great question.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about trains at all on this show.
What's Amtrak up to?
Yeah, Amtrak is doing very much the same things the airlines are doing as far as distancing when in the terminals and when you get your ticketing, but it's the same thing as a plane. You can't put people 6 feet apart, but you can take all the sanitation, have people wear masks, and be smart about what they do. So they're basically following the same things the airlines are.
Right. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm happy to say, I'm telling everybody, I'm getting on an airplane tomorrow. I'm a big proponent of us all getting back and traveling. So just a little show note: I'll be flying tomorrow during showtime, so I won't be on the show tomorrow. But I'm excited, Roger, to take my second flight since COVID started, and I know that it's going to be a lot easier and more stress-free for me because I've already been through the process once. I know what to expect, and I have a feeling people are going to be a little bit more laid back, vigilant, but a little bit more calm through the process. So I'm looking forward to that. Are you traveling a lot still, or are you more based in Florida these days?
No, I'm staying in Florida a lot, but I've been traveling quite a bit. I was in Las Vegas last week, and it's the first time that both ways, going to Las Vegas and coming back, every single seat was full. In fact, the first I've seen since COVID started, they were offering people $200 to $300 to get off. First time, and now I had to go on one of the lower priced airlines because that was the best schedule, and they did a very good job, I will say. But they were full, 100% full. I'm going to Bald Head Island with a couple of friends. We rented a house tomorrow. I'll be flying on Delta through Atlanta, and I've been flying quite a bit. And the airlines are really doing a great job all across the board. And the important thing, Glenn, is what you and I and Anthony, when we travel, we have to tell people what the experience was. All my neighbors want to know what was it like, what happened. And I think we're going to be the pioneers. They're going to tell other people it's okay. Go for it.
You know what's interesting? Like when you just said that, I was like, what was it like? It was like the first flight in like 19 whatever, the first commercial flight. When they came back, what was it like to be on an airplane? And we've gotten so used to going on airplanes, and now it's so surreal that people come back and say, how was it? And so let me ask a question. Is Delta still doing the middle row empty? They're still doing that?
Yes, they are.
All right. I feel more. See, and that's about a choice, right? I wouldn't choose to go on an airline that has every seat booked. You chose, and it's safe, and you feel good about it. I personally want my middle seat empty, and we all have choices, and we all make a decision. The ticket that I bought may be a little bit more expensive, but I feel that I could, I could feel comfortable. And again, and I really want a middle seat empty simply because I always like a middle seat empty. It really has nothing to do with COVID.
No, it's like the best reason to travel.
Medical research that basically says keeping that middle seat open cuts the exposure by 50 or 60%. So it's a smart move on their part.
Oh, really? Wow. That's interesting. Okay.
Just so everybody knows, Delta has promised to retain that policy into 2021. I don't know what their plans are for the future. I suspect they're going to extend it. They're not filling up airplanes necessarily as it is. I think it's a good move for Delta to take. I love, go back to Delta with what they're doing. I love how they're not focused on Wall Street today. They're focused on their customers. They're focused on creating confidence. And for the first time, I'm seeing a major corporation that's publicly traded really think about the long-term play as opposed to worrying every 3 months about how much you're going to be making. I think that's going to give them a good advantage in the future. You
know, Glenn, we talked about Delta, but you're, as Anthony was saying, they're all doing a really good job. I mean,
absolutely.
They're American. They're all, this is, I know they're the most competitive industry that there is, but this is a time where I'm watching them start really working together. This Let's Go There campaign we've done, everybody's come together and we're saying, let's let the rising tide raise all boats, then we'll get competitive again.
Right. Absolutely. And again, just underlining, we're all responsible, but we have to travel. Sitting in your house, like the last 2 weekends, I've actually just hung out in my yard and hung out in my house. I really went nowhere. And I think it's the first time I really wasn't looking to go somewhere and like, you know, wherever, just to get out of the house. And I was just like, you know what? I got to get out of that habit. I don't want to become a hermit. You know, I want to travel with, but we've been doing this for so long that you kind of get comfortable, you get used to it. And, you know, I haven't put pants on in 7 months, literally. Like, I mean, maybe twice.
It's true. It was a little awkward when we were at Borgata, but no,
but like literally outside of those couple times, I couldn't find my sweatpants the other day. I didn't even put sweatpants on. I've been wearing shorts. I might be wearing shorts right now. For 7 months, and you get comfortable. You get comfortable. It's like, oh, I got to put a suit on. It's like you get comfortable. So you got to break that comfort level. But once you go, it feels good. So what's one thing, Roger, that we would be interested to know? Is there anything that you found out in the last couple of weeks, or any information that's maybe not in the public domain that would be interesting to know to the traveler?
I guess the one thing that is interesting to know is that the incidence is far lower than anyone thinks. If you turn on the TV at night, you'd swear we're all going to be dead tomorrow morning.
That's right.
The incidence is small, and we have to understand that you're probably taking a bigger risk driving to the airport than perhaps you're getting on a plane.
Yeah,
I think that's a really great point. And we're not thinking about that enough as a society. We took this knee-jerk reaction. We swung one way. Now some people want to swing way too far the other way. And I think, of course, the answer always lies somewhere in between. If we're just careful and go about our business, I think we're going to do well. So Roger, this brings us to a great question that we got here from Michael Weinberg. What's the USTA's long-term strategy for getting international travelers back to the USA post-COVID? And I'd like to add to that as well. With all of the negativity in our country right now regarding politics, are people overseas absorbing that and starting to think negatively about our country being something it may not actually be because of what they see in the news?
Friends of mine I talk to overseas are watching their news and their television, and they think things in the U.S. are far worse than they are. Yeah, we've got a rough political climate, but I mean, what they're seeing is they think it's pretty bad.
That's right.
We're working every single day with State Department, Homeland Security, Commerce Department, Health and Human Services, Transportation, to try and open up international travel. Our goal is to get what we call a bubble flight, a first flight going back and forth between London and New York, just to show that it can be done, and then open from there.
Yeah, and that's really important. Again, the most important thing about getting people to travel again is, of course, getting people to travel again. And the more of us that do it, I'm so confident, Roger, that we're going to get to that point where it will be the tipping point. And then all of a sudden the floodgates are going to open. But until then, it's going to be a long, tough slog going forward. One other issue, I know Anthony wanted to discuss this earlier on. I'm just trying to bring up kids are doing a lot of virtual schooling right now, but in his school, and Justin is down in the South, they're stressing no vacation during virtual school. You should not be on a trip during a school day. I think that's unfortunate.
I have a relatively strong opinion about that.
Oh, you have an opinion on stuff?
Because there's some things as Americans we have to do to take care of each other. Wearing a mask, staying away from 6 feet, all that. Don't go to a bar and spit on people. Like, we have to protect each other, right? But you can't tell me what I can do with my children. Like if I want to go on vacation and my kid is going to study from a resort or from a hotel room and she doesn't miss homework or she doesn't miss a test and she's there online, you can't tell me I can't go on vacation. Like that's overreaching as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. And the learning experience when travel, from the day you leave home to how you navigate around a city, the learning process for kids beyond just their schooling.
I think it's a great opportunity to travel and learn, be in class. Say, listen, we're going on vacation, but from, 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock, you're in class. And then we're going to have an hour of homework. But then we're going to go, we're going to be on vacation and we're going to go wherever we feel comfortable going. But so if a school district said to me, you're not allowed to take a kid on vacation, I'd be very concerned about that. I probably wouldn't. I probably would not travel because my wife's a school teacher. My wife's very conservative that way. She would want the kid at home and have a structure. So I would lose that battle. So we wouldn't travel with our children on vacation. But you can't tell me I can't go on vacation. All you have to say is I have to be online and I have to get the homework in. And if I do those two things, you can't tell me where I do it from. That's ridiculous.
That's the same point about these states with the quarantine. Rather than take a very broad brush and quarantine 10 to 30 states, let's say be smart, travel safely, do all those things. And if you do them, come to our state. We'd like to have you visit our state and spend your money.
And somebody said that I've always felt I've learned. Oh, there it is. I've learned more through travel. It's true. I brought my daughter to 5 countries in 13 days 2 years ago, and she learned more that summer than she's ever learned in her life. Yeah. And she learns all different things, whether like a thumbs up in one country means great. Thumbs up in another country is like the middle finger, like different thing. Like, and she's like, Dad, I didn't know that. Dad, I didn't know that. So I just have a problem with people not following the rules that protect people. But I also have people telling me how we raise my family is very concerning. We need to travel. You said travel is the link to our economy, period. And if we don't travel, our economy will continue to go down and we will have a problem. We need to travel.
When my children were growing up, I said I grew up with the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. For my children, I added a 4th R, and that's roaming. If they do not roam around the world, if they do not see what's happening elsewhere, the world will pass them by.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And I want everybody to know I have pulled my kids out of school to go on vacation to other countries because honestly, they're going to learn a whole lot more in the few days of school that they're going to miss by being in another country and learning a different culture and being exposed to that than they would have an extra day or two of math or reading, which we could do at home. One thing I would like to add, I believe, so please don't quote me 100% on this, the Four Seasons Orlando Resort, which is on the Walt Disney World property, they've started a remote learning program. So they're trying to encourage people to come down on vacation and they will take care of your kids while they're doing their respective remote learning programs. I think that's a great idea. Smart for hoteliers to think about if they could scoop up that sort of business. That's a kind of innovation that we need a little bit more of right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think one other thing, everyone is talking about, the doom and gloomers are saying travel won't come back till 2024. I remember after September 11th, people said no one would go on an international flight again, followed by the 30 years of international travel. During the recession, 30% of all New York hotels would never open again, followed by the 10 greatest years of travel. I think this thing's going to come back much faster once people realize they can travel, get a vaccine, and all those things. It's going to snap back.
Listen, once you say there's a vaccine, I'm going to be one of the first people online. I'm going. I mean, try to stop me. I'm going. And that's the mentality we have to have. Because listen, unfortunately in this world, this is what we're going through now. Wait a year, we'll be going through something else. Wait another year, we'll be going through something else. You got to get what you can get when you can get it. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely true. One other thing that I think is important to put out there, I think when it comes to the human condition, we have a tendency to believe that everything is always as it is right now, which goes right to your point, Roger. I see all of the CEOs of the major hotel companies when they're on stage at the events, back when we had them, and whatever the condition was is they'd be like, oh, we don't even remember what the bad times were like, as if they never existed. And then when it's like 2008 or 2009, they don't remember that there were ever good times. So I encourage everybody out there to look at the psychology behind that, to think about whatever our state is right now is always temporary. Anthony and I talk a lot about the whole notion that there's no such thing as normal. We're always in flux. We're always changing. So to get caught up in one type of mindset that travel's never going to come back again, I think is just foolish and robs you of opportunity to take advantage of what could be a blossoming market.
I always say in the middle of a hurricane, it's impossible to think about sunshine, but yet sunshine's just a day or two away.
Yeah.
Listen, when I went through Sandy, we got hit really bad in our community, and I couldn't think. Like when I saw other people going out, and I was like, man, I was like, dude, don't you know what just happened? But and then like a year later, we're sitting on the beach going, man, I love living here. But I didn't love living here, the year before when all the houses were wiped out. So, listen, we have short-term memories, which is good. We need to travel. We need to travel safely. And you go on a plane, please don't punch somebody in the face and go viral on YouTube.
Roger, I know you got a heart out in just a couple of minutes. Anything else that you want to make sure we talk about before we go into some final thoughts with you?
Nope, it's just a matter of the biggest challenge we're going to have is getting corporate travel policies back.
Right.
So many companies have told their people, do not travel.
Right.
And we've got to get them to understand how safe it is going to be and is now and start traveling again. Otherwise, they're going to miss out and someone else is going to steal their market share. They can't sit at home and run their businesses.
Well, unfortunately, I think that they're very concerned about any legal exposure that they might have, right? So is there any sort of government mechanism that we might be able to put in place that could remove that issue from it and say, hey, we don't want you to travel, but if you do travel, then you can't blame us if it's from our company sending you on travel.
Precisely. It's one of the things that we're working on. The next package is for basically liability protection, just as they did for terrorism and all that.
Yep.
And that has to be in place because otherwise there's a whole bunch of frivolous lawsuit lawyers. They're just waiting to say, where did you get COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Let's sue the biggest player.
That's right. And you can't even prove where you got it from.
I mean, it's like saying if I got a cold, where did it come from? I mean, come on. Ridiculous.
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Roger, thank you so much for being here. Where can we find you, sir? Where can we learn more about doing our part to help promote travel around the world to the United States?
You can go on our site, ustravel.org, and also learn more about the stuff we're putting out to get traveling on the Let's Go There site. Let's Go There.
Excellent. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And I will be seeing you soon enough because we're going to be working together for Best Western's annual conference. I look forward to seeing you again then. All right. Take care, Roger.
And Roger, just put my number, my email, so you can send me wherever you want to send me in the private chat.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Wow, that was great. Roger is so fantastic. I really love hearing what he has to say. And for those of you who don't know U.S. Travel, they're an essential organization to get people to come to the United States. For every dollar they spend, well, they've been able to prove that it creates about $25 worth of spending in the United States. So they're a public-private type of thing. They don't take any money from you, the taxpayers. They take it from the visa waiver countries and other mechanisms in order to be able to have advertising over the United States.
I love having him on. He's always a bright light. And talking about bright light, Kathy is worried.
I know. Let's bring that up. Anthony, your eye, you poor thing. I love that. We love that there are moms
eye doctors out there. Can anybody tell me what's going on with my eye? I you know what? As soon as this is over, actually, Glenn and I have at 2:00, but we got to talk about that, Glenn, because
I think we do have to talk about that. We'll talk about that afterwards.
I don't think you want me in that, doing that interview with this eye. I'm not sure.
No, but I'll tell you what, it makes me realize I got a haircut for nothing because I wanted to look pretty for that. But what are you gonna do? Everybody comment on the new look. I brought it in a little bit. Didn't want to keep it too short or too long.
Hopefully a little bit shorter. I think you're sexiest when it's a little bit shorter, but that's okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how my wife thinks about it, and then
listen, if we travel together, don't be surprised if you fall asleep on an airplane and I shave your head. Don't be surprised.
I got to warn you right now, Anthony, I'm extra vigilant these days. Okay. So I don't think that's going to happen. All right. I love this. Thank you for saying that ours is a useful way of archiving our joint experiences. Really appreciate that. It's been so good. Oh, I like this. Wear an eye patch, Anthony. I like
you know what? It's so funny. I was thinking about that if it gets really bad, but I would have to get like a my skin tone eye patch because I hate those eye patches that are black eye patches. it just throws me off. So hopefully I'm going to go to the doctor and hopefully it'll be straightened out.
All right.
But it's actually, as I'm talking to you, it's getting worse. So
yeah, our frequent viewer, Steve Erasmo, says, "Hey, Glenn, can you comment on your Hilton Clean Stay experience this past weekend?" Yeah, I stayed there in the Hilton Providence on both Friday and Saturday night. We had 2 separate rooms, one's for the boys, one for the wife and I, and it was great. I am at the point now where I've been in hotels 4 or 5 times since this started. I don't even think about it anymore. I feel super comfortable. The little seal on the door. Once I went into the room, I did not think about COVID at all. I didn't worry about it.
And that's great. And that is one of the things that it's great. And you feel that, but also you've got to be careful. I remember when we were doing the show last week, it's like I was looking at you, I had my mask on and we were outside, but we were getting within a few feet of each other, and then you put your mask on. So we all get comfortable. All right, I think we have to end the show because my eyes.
No, that's all right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'll miss you all tomorrow, but think of me. I will be on an airplane trying to get us back to flying. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, you've got one life, and so blaze on. Or as Anthony goes, he's only got one eye, so blaze on.
Be kind to yourself.
See you guys. I'll see you Wednesday. He'll see you tomorrow.